Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all my lovely students. We continue with our Unit 6 Expert Detectives, which is written by Sharda Trivedi. In our previous videos, we have seen part 1 and we continue with part 2 today also. We have seen that in a part 2 beginning, Maya started writing 9 facts related to Mr. Nath. That who's Mr. Nath, his name is really Mr. Nath or not, where he's living, what the people are thinking about Mr. Nath, then who's come to meet him every Sunday, how he's getting his food and tea every day. Now, today we'll see that Nishad also agree with Maya, or let's see what happened. What's the conversation between Maya and Nishad? Continue with fact number 9. Food and tea are taken to his room by Ramesh from the restaurant downstairs. He doesn't care what he eats, pays his bill immediately, and tips well. That ends my list. Have I forgotten anything, 7? She wrote whatever she listened, whatever she observed. And after writing these all things, she's asking her brother, what do you think? Have I forgot anything, 7? Have I forgot anything? Nishad had obviously not been paying too much attention to my list of facts. All he could say was, poor man, Maya. He must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friends. But here, Nishad is not interestingly listening all facts which is written by Maya, because he's thinking that he's a poor man. He's very lonely. He's living alone. He hasn't any friends. If he hasn't any friends, so definitely the person is alone. How can a crook have friends, idiot? I almost shouted. When Nishad politely speaking with Maya related Mr. Nath that he's a poor person and he hasn't friends, that's why definitely he's alone. So that time Maya became angry and she started shouting on Nishad that how can a criminal have friends, idiot? Means you don't understand that how the person can make friendship with a criminal. At least he has one friend, the one who meets him on Sundays, said Nishad. But what Nishad said? That he has one friend who is coming to meet him every Sunday. Means he's feeling happy. He's feeling good that at least he has one friend. A brilliant thought occurred to me just then. That man must be Mr. Nath's accomplice in crime. I said, maybe he keeps all the loot and he comes now and then to give part of it to his partner, Mr. Nath, for expenses. That's it. I'm sure I'm right. When Nishad told Maya that I'm happy that at least he has one friend, that time brilliant thought comes in the mind of Maya. That man must be Mr. Nath's accomplice. Accomplice means a helper in crime. The person may be helping Mr. Nath in a crime. And maybe he's also doing some loot and after coming to meet every Sunday to give half part of that loot to his partner, that's Mr. Nath. For expenses. Expenses means the money that somebody spends on something for means kharch ke liye. Maybe that's why the partner is coming to give some money to Mr. Nath for expenses. That's it. I'm sure I'm right. And after thinking this all thing about Mr. Nath, she's very sure that whatever she's speaking is correct only. If you insist on calling him a criminal, I don't think I want to discuss anything with you, Maya, said Nishad angrily. He can't be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such generous tips. Now Nishad become very angry that now if you say anything related Mr. Nath and if you use the word like criminal, so I don't want to discuss anything related Mr. Nath. And he said that Mr. Nath is not a bad person. And that's why he's a good person. That's why he's giving good, generous tips to Ramesh also. Means he's behaving very liberal with Ramesh also. So he's not a bad person. So now you will not say a single time that the person is criminal. Otherwise, I'll not discuss anything related Mr. Nath. So finally, here Nishad become angry and giving again opposite idea, opposite thinking related Mr. Nath. But his sister was continuously giving some clues and giving some ideas that Mr. Nath is a criminal only. Ramesh probably knows something about his past. So Mr. Nath must be bribing him to keep quiet, I said. Now look at another, you can say that thought came in Maya's mind. When Nishad told that he's a very good person, that's why he's giving generous tips to Ramesh also. So what Maya said, that Ramesh perhaps knows something about Mr. Nath's past, and that's why bribing. So bribing means a sum of money you give or offer to someone to persuade them to help you. So that's why he's saying that he must be bribing him to keep quiet, and he's giving these generous tips to Ramesh because he can shut his mouth. He cannot say anything to anyone related to Mr. Nath. That's why he's giving generous tips to Ramesh also. So here, whatever thing is saying by Nishad, Maya is taking completely opposite. Maya is taking completely negative that things. Nishad glared at me with his arms tightly crossed across his chest. I was beginning to get fed up with him. But when Maya told this idea, that time Nishad glared. Glared means looking very angrily, with his arms tightly crossed across his chest. I was beginning to get fed up with him. Means now she's become tired because Nishad is not ready to agree with any her thought. So that time Nishad became very angry and looking very angrily, very firmly that whatever she's saying is wrong only. How can we make any progress with our investigations if we take that attitude, 7? I asked. And after she said that if you behave like this way, if you become like this way angry on me, so how can we do investigations? How can we do further inquiry about Mr. Nath? I'll cooperate only if you give up this idea about him being an escaped crook, said 7. You really make me angry. And what Nishad say? I'll cooperate. I help you only if you give up. Means if you leave this idea that the person is a criminal. And this your idea related Mr. Nath is making me angry that he is a criminal. I almost hate him. I make you angry, you stupid oaf. I shouted. You make me mad. And that time Maya became angry that I make you angry, you stupid. Both brother and sister are now in a mood of fighting because both have opposite idea and both are not ready to accept each other's idea. So here, Maya say that you stupid, I make you angry, you make me mad. What is the point of all these inquiries if he's not a crook? If you think he's a nobody, what's the idea of bothering about him? Please tell me. And after, Maya continues speaking that if he's not criminal, so what's the need to do these all inquiries about Mr. Nath? If we are thinking that he's nobody, he's a simple person like us, so what's the idea of bothering about him? Please tell me. Means it's not making us trouble if he's like us only. So why we are gathering these all inquiries about Mr. Nath? Nisha looked thoughtful. I'd like to find out why he's so thin and why he's so lonely. I want to know why he doesn't have any friends and lives alone. But Nishad is thinking completely opposite, that I'm not doing inquiry because he's a criminal. But I'm thinking that why the person is very thin, why he's living so alone, why he's so lonely. I want to know these all things about that, why he hasn't friend, why he hasn't any relatives, why he's living alone. That's why I'm finding some inquiries about him. Try to understand, 7. I told him, if he's lived in Shankar house for a year and hasn't made a single friend, that's something wrong. He's obviously scared that someone will recognize him and give him up to the cops. Then once again Maya said the same thought, same idea that 7. Nisha, try to understand. He's living in Shankar house from more than 1 year and he's not made a single friend because Mr. Nath is thinking that maybe he do friendship with someone and maybe someone recognized him. So might be the person can give him to the police. Cops means police. Maybe the person can hand over Mr. Nath to the police. That's why he himself is not making friendship with other. So this is idea of Maya related Mr. Nath. Maybe no one's tried to make friends with him, Nishad protested. When Maya said that he himself is not making friendship with others because he's feeling scared, he's feeling afraid that someone maybe recognize him and hand over him to police. So, in the protested of, Nishad protested. In the opposed, he opposed this idea of Maya and he said that maybe other people are not trying to make friends with him. Why should anyone bother? You have seen what a nasty bear he is, I said. And Maya said that why should anyone bother? Anyone hasn't any problem to make friendship with him. You have seen what a nasty bear he is. Nasty bear means a large heavy mammal specially belonging to dog family. So he said that he's looking like a nasty bear. Why people are bothering to make friendship with him? I don't care, said Nishad stubbornly. I like him and I'm going to try and be his friend. Now look at here, completely opposite behavior of Nishad, though both are brother and sister. Nishad, who is feeling very pity towards Mr. Nath, and he said that I don't care. Said Nishad stubbornly, means very firmly. He said that I don't care what the people are thinking about him. I like him and I'm going to try and be his friend. I like Mr. Nath and I try to be his friend. Friends with a crook? Ha! You are crazy. 7. I said. And when Nishad said to make a friendship with him, that time maybe Maya, you can say that he's laughing. She's laughing and say that you are crazy. Are you mad? The cops will take you to jail with him. Do you want that to happen, you idiot? And after she said that if you make a friendship with a criminal, so if the police come to catch him, that time they will catch to you also to jail. Nishad merely glared at me and quietly walked out of the room. My theories seemed to have made no impression on him at all. So after Maya said that, when I say that you will make friendship with the criminal, so that time Nishad merely means only looked in an angry way. Merely means only. Glare means looked in an angry way and quietly walked and very silently walked out of the room without speaking anything. My theories seemed to have made no impression on him at all. And whatever ideas, whatever thinking she said about Mr. Nath, but these thinking not impressed Nishad, not effect anymore on Nishad, and he just leave the room. So here we end up our story Expert Detectives, which is written by Shada Dwivedi in her own book From the Broken Flute. So I hope students you understood this story about investigation which is doing by Maya and Nishad related Mr. Nath. Very interesting story. I hope that this story is clear to you. If you have any doubts related to this story, you can write in the comment box. Inshallah, I try to solve your problem. Thank you and have a nice day.